Hello viewers, so welcome to my YouTube channel. I still remember my humble self, MC Bernardino. All right, like I promised you that on today's episode, I have a very prominent personality and I want him to do the justice of introducing himself to you guys. So join me as you welcome on set.
Thanks, Bernard. Good to meet you, my friend. Good to connect with you.
Thank you.
My name is Donovan Francis. I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer. Our office is based in the Greater Toronto area, but most of the services we provide are done virtually. So we have clients from around the world, including Nigeria, other parts of Africa, India, and inside Canada as well. I myself, I'm an immigrant to Canada. My wife and I immigrated to Canada many years ago. And we moved to Alberta, of all places. So for those of your viewers who don't know, Alberta is one of the coldest provinces in Canada.
Yeah.
But we adjusted well there. And we actually met quite a number of Nigerian friends while we were in...
Nigerians are everywhere.
Nigerians are everywhere, man. And it was great connecting with them. And so now I practice exclusively immigration law. So we help people with becoming Canadian permanent residents. We help people with their study permit applications. We help people who have inadmissibility issues, meaning people who would otherwise not be allowed into Canada because of some issue in the past, whether it was some issue of misrepresentation or some issue of a criminal past or a medical issue, whatever it is. We help people with all of those kinds of challenges as well. We help people with work permit applications. And we also help investors. So these are foreign nationals who are wanting to move to Canada, but they want to do so by setting up a business in Canada and using that as a means to become a Canadian permanent resident.
Wow, what an interesting introduction. And for those of you who don't know, Donovan Francis is also a YouTuber. He has a YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel name is Goose Law Immigration TV. It's capital letter. So Goose Law Immigration TV. So I want you all to go to his YouTube channel. He's got so many interesting videos out there about immigration that will benefit you, because we might not be able to talk about everything on this episode today. So you might want to visit his channel, and please don't forget, like this video, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. All right. So if my first question, because we've got a lot of questions, my viewers, they ask me so many questions, and I don't know if we have a lot of time to ask you, but let's start with this. What do you think about an immigration, a candidate, a student wants to come and study in Canada and is probably married wherever, Africa, wherever they are, Asia, wherever, and he or she wants to come and study? How best can he do it? Because, he can't come with the family, or can he or she comes with the family at once?
Absolutely. And I think it's great that you've started with that question, because a lot of people who are Canadian permanent residents today and they're Canadian citizens today, they actually came here as students and they came with their families.
Same thing with me too.
Excellent. So there you go. So one of the best means for people to come to Canada is to apply for a study permit. So you apply to get into an eligible institution, a college or university. They typically get they typically get into a program that's 1 year or 2 years in duration, ideally. So you get a 2-year study permit, and you're able to take your spouse with you. That is, you can take your husband, your wife, or if you're not married, if you're living in a common law relationship, meaning you're living together for more than a year, but you're not married, you can still take that partner with you. And that partner is eligible for a open spousal work permit, which means that they will be able to work with any employer in Canada, anywhere in Canada, while you are studying.
So both of them are going to be on the same duration.
That's right. So if you are coming on a study permit for 2 years, your partner gets to come on an open spousal work permit for also 2 years, which means that they'll be able to work for 2 years. Then perhaps even more importantly is when you are done studying after 2 years, you then qualify for what's called a postgraduate open work permit.
That's correct.
All right? And that then allows you to work in Canada after you're done studying. And the length of time you're going to be able to work for depends on the length of time you would have studied for. But generally speaking, if you've studied for 2 years, or more, then you're going to get a 3-year work permit, right?
Okay.
And so that's going to be a good thing for you. And in addition, subject to some basic qualifications, your partner will also again be able to get another open spousal work
Wow,
permit.
that's interesting. That's good to
Yes.
know. So something we were missing is what happens to the kid, the child that they have.
Yes.
What happened to him or her?
Excellent. So where persons who are coming here on study permits are concerned, they are able to take their children with them to Canada. And when we say children, under Canada's immigration law, you can take a child who is under 22 years old. So a child who is just over 21 years old, you may be able to take that person with you to Canada as well as very young children. If this child is not yet of college age, if this is a child who is eligible for elementary school and so on and so forth, then you will be able to get that child admitted into school without issue. Okay, you would have applied also for a study permit for that child at the time you're applying to come to Canada. If the kid isn't old enough to go to school, then what happens is that child, when they land here, they get what's called a visitor record.
Okay.
But the most important thing to understand is that somebody who's coming to study will be able to take their children with them to Canada as well as take their partners with them to Canada.
Okay, thank you very much for that. That was exclusive, and I never even knew about some of those, and that's why it's very insightful bringing you on this channel. Thank you very much. So as a follow-up to that, the next question I want to ask you is this. One of the questions I got from my viewers, is what happens if I get banned for misrepresentation? Maybe I submitted the wrong document, and as a result of that, Canada Immigration got back to me and banned me for like 5 or 10 years. What options do I have?
Yes, that's a good question because under Canada's immigration rules, misrepresentation is a big deal. It's a serious offense. And just so that everybody understands, misrepresentation happens when you have misstated a fact or you have withheld a material fact. And by material fact, we mean information that would have impacted your application had the officer been aware of it at the time you made the application. All right. So where that happens and it is discovered, the Canada's immigration authority, the immigration regulations state that you then become subject to a 5-year ban from Canada. And this applies not just to persons who are applying to visit Canada, but also to permanent residents who are already in Canada. If you apply to become a Canadian permanent resident and you've become a permanent resident and it is discovered after the fact that you had misrepresented when you were applying, then you are then subject to being removed from Canada and being banned from Canada for 5 years. Oh. So that's an important thing. So what happens where you have in fact been found to have misrepresented and you've been banned from Canada for 5 years? Because of the significant nature of the offense, it then makes it difficult for you to return to Canada before this 5-year ban has elapsed. If it's a situation where your application is in process and you've discovered that you misstated something, then when clients come to us, we recommend that you reach out to the immigration authorities right away. You state that you misrepresented, you explain what led to the misrepresentation, and requests that the officer consider the new information you're providing. And then after that, it's going to be up to the officer to make a decision. All right, so that's in a situation where the application is already in process but has not yet been decided. Where the immigration officer sees what they think is a misrepresentation, they then have to reach out to you and give you an opportunity to explain why that misrepresentation exists, right? It's something that's called procedural fairness. And that's kind of situation number 2, where in that case, you're going to need a lawyer to make an argument on your case, explaining why that situation occurred. It could have been a case where it was an innocent misrepresentation, it was an innocent mistake, and that happens. In fact, there's a case that went before Canada's federal court, a case of a Nigerian family where the family did not know that the child who was part of their application was not actually the child of the father.
Oh.
You know, the birth certificate said that it was his kid, and it wasn't until they had a DNA test done that it was discovered that the child was actually not the dad's child. And in that particular case, the courts found that they really did not know that that was the case. And so that was a good reason why the misrepresentation, or rather why their application was not denied on the grounds of misrepresentation, right? So they kind of challenge the decision. So that's another option that's available, where one can challenge a decision that the application has misrepresentation. Where the decision has been made fully that there's misrepresentation and the person has already had to leave Canada, then it becomes very, very difficult for them to return. You know, somebody can apply for what's called a temporary resident permit to allow them to enter Canada. We usually recommend that this only be done after the 5-year period has passed. And a temporary resident permit is not a work permit. It's a special permit for people who have situations like misrepresentation, where they're pretty much saying to the immigration authorities, you know what, please allow me into Canada, because the reason why I'm coming into Canada is so important to Canada that it's going to outweigh any concerns that the Canadian authorities may have about the safety and security and well-being of Canadian citizens. So there's a weighing that's done in order to determine whether or not you're eligible for a temporary resident permit in a situation where you've been found to have misrepresented. So the bottom line, Bernard, is that misrepresentation is a serious issue, and it's going to result in a 5-year ban, and it's difficult to overcome a misrepresentation. So what you want to do is to put yourself in a situation where you've not misrepresented. Okay. You know, you want to make sure the information is accurate.
An immigration lawyer would be a very good option, right?
That's right.
I mean, in ab initio, before you put your application, an immigration lawyer will be able to help you out.
That's right. You want to ensure that the application is accurate. Yeah. You know, if the date, if you put an inaccurate date on your application, for instance, you run the risk of an officer interpreting that as being an attempt by you to misrepresent.
And do you know something? I have a friend in the States, in the US,
yes,
and he was banned for 5 years. And you know what the mistake was?
Yes.
At the point when he was filling his document,
yes,
the wife is here on a study, yes, and he wants to come here on his open spouse, whatever. So, and the question was, have you been rejected a visa before in the States?
Yes.
And he said, no. And when they checked, he never knew that Canada could actually verify that. They verified that he was actually initially denied, and because of that, he was banned for 5 years. Yes. So in that situation, are you saying that within that 5 years, there's nothing you can do? I mean, an immigration lawyer can't fight for you to get it over time.
Well, I mean, a lawyer could always attempt to assist you in coming in, but what I'm saying is that it's going to be difficult for you to overcome that misrepresentation. Okay. You know, and so the ideal situation is to ensure that your application, when it's being prepared, is done accurately. And if you discover after you file that application that there was some inaccuracy there, some misstatement of a fact, or some withholding of some material, some critical information, then you want to step up and have your representative put that information forward and provide an explanation as to what caused it, and leave it to the officer to make a decision. You know, that's what we advise people. Try to avoid that situation altogether, because the risk is great. The risk of you being banned from Canada if found misrepresented.
And if just to summarize this, if I get banned for 5 years, after the 5 years,
yes,
do I stand a good chance if I reapply again? I mean, will I be given a fair hearing to listen to my new application, or because of my antecedents, I still stand not being accepted after the 5 years?
Yes. Well, technically you're eligible to apply again, and you would have served your 5-year period, and that should not be held against you. Okay. All right. So generally that's the understanding. But I mean, your application is being assessed and evaluated by human beings, right? And your record will still be there. And so you would want to be extremely vigilant if you're filing a new application, just to ensure that that application is 100% accurate, is free from any kind of misstatement, has all of the necessary supporting documentation, and ensure that whatever supporting documentation you're including is genuine, because that also falls under misrepresentation if you include documents that are fraudulent or that are tampered with in any way. All right, so that's going to be critical.
Thank you very much. All right, viewers, I hope you actually been enjoying the video today, and you don't want to agree with me less that the erudite scholar that we brought on our YouTube channel today has been doing justice to our immigration question. If you feel you still have any question, you have further question to what he has said, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please why not just hit on the likes button. Once again, our erudite scholar is also a YouTuber and also an immigration lawyer. You might want to visit his YouTube channel. It's called Goose Law Immigration TV, all caps lock, Goose Law Immigration TV. He has a lot of video, tons and tons of video. You can actually watch and get more enlightened about immigration to Canada. And also don't forget to subscribe to his YouTube channel. All right, so what does it require to sponsor an Outlander spouse? Take for instance, the partner here is a citizen or a permanent resident in Canada and wishes to sponsor the other partner wherever they are. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a rigorous process. Can you put us through in summary what it takes?
For sure. You're right. It can be a rigorous process, but it definitely is a feasible and doable process, and one that we see on a regular basis. So first of all, the person who is wanting to sponsor must be a Canadian permanent resident or a Canadian citizen. Okay, so that's the first thing. You must be over 18 years old in order to sponsor somebody. And there are some restrictions around kind of ensuring that the person who's wanting to sponsor doesn't have certain kinds of criminal records and so on and so forth. The person you're wanting to sponsor, you must be the spouse of that person, meaning you must either be married to that person or you must be engaged in a common law relationship with that person, or you could be engaged in a conjugal relationship with that person. And I'll explain what those are. So ideally, you want to be married to the person. That way, you can show your marriage certificate as proof of your relationship in order for you to sponsor the person. But outside of that, Canada's immigration laws allow for persons who are unmarried but who are in a relationship, a common law relationship, which is where they're living together for at least, and they've been living together for at least 12 months consecutively in a relationship that is similar to that of a man and wife. Okay, so that's a common law relationship. But then there are also situations where you're not able to live together. One spouse may be here in Canada while the other spouse may be in Nigeria. So you're not physically living together, so you don't meet the technical requirements of a common law relationship. In that situation, you may qualify as a conjugal partner. And by conjugal, it means that you have a relationship that is similar to a man and wife relationship, but you're not physically living together because you're some distance away. The important thing is that you will have to prove that your relationship is either a common law relationship or a conjugal relationship. And this is important for people wanting to sponsor, right? It's important because one of the challenges that a lot of people face is that their relationship gets questioned by the immigration authorities, who raise concerns as to whether or not it's an immigration marriage, or in legal terms, what's called a marriage of convenience. And so you're going to want to ensure, even where you're married, actually, you're going to want to ensure that you have sufficient evidence to show that you're not getting married just for immigration purposes, or if you're in a common law relationship, that is actually a genuine relationship. And so sometimes you're going to be asked to provide supporting documentation. If you're married, depending on how recently you got married, you may have to show photographs. You might have to show evidence that you were in a relationship before your recent marriage. You may have to show evidence of the communications you've had together, WhatsApp messages. you know, copies of your WhatsApp messages, copies of your email communication, if you've had trips together, if the person in Canada was sending remittances to the spouse in Nigeria, all of that stuff is going to be important to show that the relationship is genuine. And that's going to be even more important if you're in a common law or a conjugal relationship. Okay? So that's going to be a critical element for anybody who wants to sponsor a partner outside Canada. There are also other considerations that the person might want to think about as well. For instance, if the partner you're wanting to sponsor is going to be outside of Canada, then you're limited in terms of the type of application you can make. You're going to have to apply for them under what's called the family class option. And that person will not be able to qualify for a work permit in Canada. However, if the person you're wanting to sponsor is already here legally in Canada, then when you sponsor that person, after 4 months or so, that person becomes qualified for a work permit that allows them to work until the sponsorship application is complete and until they become a permanent resident.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I mean, you've really done a very good justice to that question. All right, so that will lead me to my next question. I mean, when you go and see our IRCC website, I mean, it's always there that you don't really need an immigration lawyer, you don't really need a representative to help you in an application submission. Yes. But if you want to seek one, so can you convince our viewers why you feel an immigration lawyer like you, an immigration consultant is needed when I want to submit my application?
Yes. So that's a good question. That's a fair question. And I think that would be a good question to ask many of the clients who come to us after they've run into issues, right? One of the biggest concerns is that the application that you're filing potentially could be filed inaccurately. You know, there may be missing information, or you might have made a mistake in the application, which ultimately would have led an officer to conclude that you are attempting to misrepresent, you know, or that you are attempting to deliberately leave something out. And so having a lawyer there is going to help safeguard against these kinds of issues. Perhaps most importantly is some people who are applying, they have different challenges with they have different issues that are specific to their application. You know, if you're applying for spousal sponsorship, for instance, and you were recently married or you're in a common law relationship, then you're going to want somebody who's going to be putting together legal submissions that are going to speak specifically to any concerns the officer might have, the immigration officer might have around the genuineness of your marriage, right? And then you're going to need a lawyer who's going to be able to articulate all the arguments supporting your particular case and explaining to the officer why your application should be approved, notwithstanding whatever issues or challenges the officer might otherwise find with the application. You know, so it gives you that sense of security of knowing that your application is being put together accurately, and it also gives you somebody who's going to be issue spotting, somebody who's going to be spotting issues on your behalf, and including legal arguments to neutralize those issues in advance of your application being filed.
Thank you very much. I mean, you guys have had it all from me. So as a follow-up to that question, if our viewers, I mean, a lot of them are watching you right now. If they want to reach out to you, if they want to seek your legal advice on their application, how can they reach out to you? Yeah, so the easiest way is to reach us at our website. Our website is gooselaw.com. We're on LinkedIn as well. We can be reached on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook, gooselaw.com on Facebook. And of course, we have our YouTube channel, which is Goose Law Immigration TV. They can reach us there as well. So there are multiple ways in which anybody who is interested is able to reach out to us. Thank you very much. I mean, you viewers, there are a lot of topics that we want to talk about. There are a lot of questions that you guys asked of. And because of that, this channel was actually created just because of you guys. Because of that, we'll be rolling out the part 2 of this video because, there are a lot of questions to answer. So, but we'll be wrapping it up today. You've had it all. Once again, he has told you where you can reach out to him on social media, but the one I'm more particular about is the YouTube channel where he has a lot and tons of videos on immigration. So you want to visit his YouTube channel once again, Goose Law Immigration TV. look at this video, interesting video. I find so many of them interesting. So subscribe to his YouTube channel, like his video. I mean, he's doing a great job. And please don't forget to subscribe to Canada Reality, our YouTube channel too. All right, before he gives us his final note, I also want to tell you that, I mean, this episode wouldn't have even been complete without the intellectual support of the man behind the camera, Ziggy on the lens. I mean, go to his Instagram page. I'll be linking it in this video. Ziggy.on.d.lens. I mean, it's very clear. You can see it's an entrepreneur. I mean, we studied together in Canada as a student, and he's doing a very good business. He's doing very good for himself, shooting videos. I mean, if you want to shoot your wedding videos, I mean, you want to do your whatever celebration you want to do, it does nice shots. I'll be showing you his Instagram so that you can actually follow him and see what he has done in the past. All right, before we go, what do you have to say to our esteemed viewers out there?
Yeah, well, I just want to thank you, Bernard, for the opportunity to share all the good stuff that our law firm is doing, and just to commend you for the good work that you're doing in just generally informing people about the different options that they have to come to Canada. So thanks for the opportunity, and we're open to providing guidance to anybody who is interested. I know people always have questions about our fees. We're pretty open about our fees, so people who have questions, they may just check out our website. We have our fees listed there if there are any questions related to that. But again, just thank you for the opportunity to share this information with your viewers.
On behalf of all our viewers out there, I want to say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Francis, because I know you're out of your busy schedule. You find time, because I've been on him a long time. I've been after him, but he said, okay, Bernard, I'm going to spare out the time for me. And finally, he told me, okay, Bernard, let's roll it. I want to say a very big thank you for taking out the time to have you on our platform. And I hope the next time when we're rolling out the part 2 of this, we reach out to you, you'll be willing to come on our channel. All right, so I come back to you again with another very interesting episode on Canada Reality with MC Bernardino. Please stay safe. COVID-19 is real. Bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe.